What is happening, Honey Badger Nation, man? Thank you guys tuning in to another episode of One Big Fire. And we definitely got a big fire in the house from the ATL. Man, so good to see you, Levi. It's always great catching up. And man, thanks for jumping in. And I know it's rally season, so you guys are right in the middle of it.
Yes, we are. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. Glad to be on. And yeah, we're right in the middle of the regional rallies. We got our rally here in Atlanta on tomorrow, and today we're currently at a mentor retreat that we're using to lead up to the rally tomorrow. So lots happening here in Atlanta.
Yeah, lots always happening in Atlanta. And man, you know, so last week I was out in Seattle for the Seattle rally, one of the first few rallies to kind of kick things off. I know Portland was the day before. We've had some of them already in Cincinnati and Nashville. They're popping off. So, man, some really great takeaways and things that I'd be curious to kind of get your take on, kind of the temperature and things that are happening. So we had a panel the night before, kind of a VIP type of experience. And it was myself, Kendall Bonner, Glenn, and Debbie. And then we had, host Jacob Weaver, Georgia Tush was in. She was the icon agent, so she presented at the rally. And then we had Carrie, head of EXP Luxury, and we had a great panel. And kind of the direction of, especially where Glenn's head is at right now, kind of where he's going, really guiding and leading the company through AI, right? Custom GPTs, like every department has custom GPTs. They're really, it's wild how much decision making and leading that they are with AI and the direction and things that are going. As we know, Glenn's always been at the forefront of that. But what really stood out to me, and I don't know how much time you've had to spend with Kendall, and she is really, when I step back and I look at, all of the amazing leadership team and the things that they're doing, I feel Kendall she's not out on an island. And it was kind of what we did with Partner when we broke down and got out of the NAEA office, because we were running the real estate team and the real estate brokerage within NAEA in Frisco. And we're like, hey, we got to vet this model. So we went to Addison, 9 miles down the tollway. And that's where we set up, Partner. And I can't even think of the book, but it's completely almost like off the org structure. And you're just out there vetting. It's R&D almost. And it's not what Kendall's doing. However, it reminded me of that, Levi. And she's really running hardcore at providing solutions and opportunities and connections and relationships for the agents to solve agent problems at EXP. And she's amazing. I was blown away at all of the stuff that EXP is rolling out, EXP solutions. So she's driving EXP solutions. She has her own marketing team. She has her own team, and she's just like vetting out opportunities, vetting out things, and then just rolling out things that I didn't even know. Like she started rattling off stuff. I was like, Kendall, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like, I would love your take on that. I mean, I know, you're really plugged in. I mean, you're there at the mentor, retreat. You got rally tomorrow, but you're really plugged into all the inner workings and things that are happening. I would just love to kind of get your perspective on kind of what you're seeing, the things, and if you have any feedback with what you feel like what Kendall's doing and the direction that she's going to help really drive the direction of this company.
Yeah, Kendall's awesome, man. I've actually had the privilege of meeting her personally 3 times. Here at the company we have, even though you meet somebody one time, you already feel like you've known them 5 years,
Yeah.
because we're so connected virtually. But yeah, I love the fact that she's a cheerleader and a soldier for everything that EXP has going on, our solutions, because really what it is another level of accountability. Not just access for the agents, but I think it's another level of accountability for the agents. We like when I tell you 5 minutes before I jumped on here with you, that's the conversation going on right now inside the mentor retreat. So right now we're here in Georgia, and all the Georgia mentors are here in one space. We're masterminding. They're calling it a retreat. But one of the questions was like, what's one of the biggest problems that you have when you're working with a mentee? One of those things is first, getting their mindset together, knowing that it's their skill set that they have, regardless of where they're coming from, that is their superpower. So utilizing that skill set and applying it to real estate. A lot of times and even myself and all of us as people, we'll stop in our tracks and we won't move forward because we feel like we don't know how to do something, or we're not doing it the right way completely, or doing it the way that we think that the book says do it.
Yeah.
And until we kind of pause and understand, okay, selling real estate is the action, selling cars is the action, teaching a classroom, working on cars is the action, but what skill set do you have that you can apply to that action, apply to that thing? So that's one thing that we're talking about. And accountability is the other thing around that. So, talking about those part-time agents, the struggle that they're having to go full-time, or talking about an agent that can't find enough business, they don't have enough business, getting with somebody who is actually more plugged in than you.
Yeah.
We have our resources, we have Workplace, we have the EXP World, we have all those places we can go to find out what things are and where they are. But really, a friend could really be that resource for you.
Yeah.
Like, not just a person, but maybe a group. So having a group that you
Yeah.
are a part of. There he is, the man.
What's up, dog? All right, hey, keep the flow going, man. Don't let me interrupt.
Yeah, Levi, you're spot on, man. I want you to keep talking about that a little bit more, because you look at kind of the results framework, right? And we've always been go to the source, right?
Yep.
We wanted to learn, we didn't. Well, you're a disciple of who? Okay, we want to go there. We want to go to who's the Godfather, who's teaching this. And so when you look at the results framework, it's behavior, habits, it's how you feel, it's what you think and believe, environment and circumstance, right? So
Absolutely.
like I feel now more than ever, because there's people that I know that when you look at them, you think they got their shit together, but it's falling apart, it's crumbling. And just because we go through seasons, right? And told you at the rally, and for the last 2 years I've opened with the American bison in the middle of the storm, because it's such a great reminder for all of us, is that, listen, when the storm comes, you got to turn and face it. But you need those people around you more now than ever. Environment is driving everything. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with EXP, as there's so many of these people that are gravitating and coming to the company. And what you guys are talking about, right? Like with the mentee and mentor program, man, if you can build that community, that's what they need more than anything.
Yep. Just building that community and having a place to go for refuge. Like, and whether that be, hey, communicate with these 3 people once a week, we go on a Zoom call together and this is what we do. Or whether it be, I'm making sure that I tap into the Honey Badger Facebook group every single week, making sure I tap into the Accelerate trainings or whatever it is you got going on, making sure I go to an EXP event. Hey, the rallies are going on right now. I need to make sure I get into a rally. It's just about making sure that you always keep moving the needle forward and putting yourself in the right environment, because it's like right now I'm in a little room, right? If I close this curtain, there's nobody in this room but me. And I'm stuck to just be around me, my thoughts, and whatever I think is going on in my head.
It can be dangerous, Levi.
But it can be real dangerous, right? But the moment I step out there and have a conversation with somebody, regardless of what I'm thinking, my thought process around whatever I'm thinking is going to change just because I had a conversation with that person, whether it be good or bad. So that now I got to make sure I talk to the right person. I can't just be talking to everybody. right? And then there's some other rooms around here as well. I can go in some of those rooms and not get any value, or I can go in those rooms and come out a better person. So I think that's what it is all in all.
Dude, it was so crazy, man. So I talked to one of the attendees at the Seattle rally last week. I talked to her yesterday, and she had just came over 2 days prior to the rally. And what was the rally on Wednesday last week, something like that. So it's been a week, pretty much a week. And she had came over 2 days prior, and she goes, "I didn't realize how much I needed to be in a room that was going to push me and also pull me in the direction that I want to go." And she goes, "The previous company I was at, like, I mean, she's great for a solo agent, right? I mean, she'd fall probably stage 2, but her average sales price, 600,000-700,000, do 39 deals on your own in that price point. You're doing really well, right? I mean, you're probably top 1% of the income earners in the country." And she goes, "But I was at the not the top, but I was pretty much close to the top of my company." And she goes, "I just didn't know that there was so much more, and I really needed that." And I'm like, dude, that we all need to be getting in rooms like that. And it was just a great reminder. That's why, I mean, rally season's amazing. And, just being able to, get that energy that we all need, especially coming out of the winter that a lot of folks have had. I mean, these getting in the rooms right now I think are really, really important.
Yeah. It only takes that one idea. It only takes that one conversation that's going to push you to the next level. And it may not be something major. It could be something small that you pick up, and that little small activity leads to your next big opportunity. So, but you're right. You hit something on the head that's very important. We literally just came out of the worst year ever, ever. And we need each other more now than ever before, and that interaction and that engagement is probably the most powerful tool that we have to take each other to the next level, to be honest.
I want to throw something at the two of you guys. It's something just because what I had to go through the preparation and the process for presenting last week at the rally, and Jacob wanted me to Jacob and Elizabeth Weaver were the hosts, and they wanted me to he wanted me to kind of walk through the 3 stages or the 8 stages. And so I took the 8 stages and have looked at it and really broken it down into 3 phases. And phase 1 is kind of traction, which is stage 1 and stage 2. So I had the crowd, hey, how many phases? 3. How many stages? 8, because it can get really confusing real quick. And so you get into that second phase, which is kind of that momentum, right? That's going to be 6 to 7 figure stage. That's 3, 4, and 5. And then you get into that final phase 3, that's CEO game changes, right? I mean, you're playing chess, you're pouring back into people. It's all about creating opportunities for others. But where I really kind of started thinking about this was PBD. And one of my favorite reels, probably shared it with you guys. I've shared it multiple times, but it's the one where he's coming back from his kid's soccer match. And he said the second it started, it was something different. And that's where he talked about interested, committed, and obsessed. And then he had a podcast maybe a couple months ago now, where he talked about the right type of advice. 20% advice, 1% advice, 0.1% advice. So started doing some digging, and you look at NAR statistics, 1.2 million agents. Let's just ballpark it. In NAR coming into the new year. Well, 20%, top 20%, that's going to be 220,000 agents. NAR statistics say that in that top 20%, that's people are making 6 figures. If you can get into the top 20%, you're making 6 figures, 150,000 plus. So what type of advice? And so I would say the 20% would be interested, right? If you're just interested, showing up, you have decent habits, right? Engaging a little bit, having conversations, you can probably make it into the top 20%. you ain't getting to 1%. You ain't getting into the 1%. You ain't getting to 11,000 agents being interested. That's got to be committed. That's the committed. And then the 0.1%, which is about 1,100 agents, you ain't getting there unless you're obsessed, right? And so I would love y'all's take on kind of advice to give to those that are maybe at least interested, because there's a lot of agents that ain't even interested. But what type of advice for the 20%ers out there do they need to hear?
Man, that's a great question, John. I don't, because I almost feel like, man, if you're just interested, I don't know how to help you, right? Like, because it's not enough. It's just not. This game is changing so quickly that you're just going to get past. If you're just interested, and I think the advice that I would give to you is if you have to go back, if this doesn't work and you're in real estate and you got to go back to get it a job and that's not motivating you enough, go dig deep for what like the worst case scenario of your life could end up like in the next 10, 20, 30 years. And find some source of drive that takes you from interested to committed. Like, because you look up 10 years from now, you might be doing fine now, but you're going to be out of business. And are you financially prepared to withstand in any more storms? Are you going to plan to live on Social Security? Well, not if you're in real estate, because you don't have that. So like, the worst case scenario is pretty bad for people. And so, I think you need to get committed. That's my advice. You better get committed.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think the interested I think they're done. I think they're dinosaurs. They just don't know it. Levi, any thoughts on that 20%?
Yeah. Can you all hear? My background's kind of loud. Is it okay?
Oh yeah, you're good. We can't hear it.
Okay, good. That's a good question, man. I was sitting here literally thinking, and I just think about, like, I think back to my experience. And I know we said this 100 times, but I really think this is about getting in the right rooms and getting around people who have bigger goals than you, get around people that are doing bigger things than you. I remember the second time I met you guys in Key West, Florida, and we were down there, and Gene Frederick was talking, and Gene was talking about how he had a $90,000 tax bill. And I was like, his tax bill is $90,000? And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm trying to net $90,000. I didn't even make $90,000, and I'm selling a bunch of homes every year. And that kind of stretched my mindset. And then from there, I believe that I remember that being the first thing that I heard. And then secondly, I had conversations over and over and over again with other people that were selling all these tons of homes, or if they were not selling homes, they were partnering with a lot of people, and pretty much their efforts were being compensated very well without them having to physically go out there and do all of the work themselves. And it's one of those things where you don't really recognize what the consequence could be until you get to a point in your life and you're looking back. Like, I was just talking to my son who's 20 years old. He's a freshman in college now. I said, bro, listen, I remember being 20 years old. I'm 39 now. I said, trust me, 40 is going to be here in a minute. And the moment that I said that to him, guess what popped in my head? 60 is going to be here in a minute. It's going to be here just like that. So you just got to really just make a decision, like Jay was saying. But something else that I'm starting to do too, and you talk about your why, and you talk about what makes you do a certain thing and what makes you tick and who are you doing it for. We started talking about how important faith is. Making sure that we build a business around serving certain areas of our life that are important. So I started going to the gym. Fitness is a key thing for me now. So, I got to make sure I get in the gym. So I got to make sure I'm in there at 5:30. If I'm not in there at 5:30, because sometimes I don't make it in the morning, I got to make sure my schedule is open for it in the evenings or on the weekend. I got to make time for that. Faith. I got to make sure that my mind is right, my prayer life is right, my relationship with God is the best that it can be, because that's what keeps me going, right? My relationship, right? My finances, my business. So all those things, like, You don't want to get to the point to where your real estate business is taken away from those areas, but want to get to the point to where your business is serving those areas, and then once you kind of lean out that way, it's easy to build a fund it. But maybe that comes a little later, maybe that comes up front. But for me, exposure, exposure is the biggest game changer in my personal opinion, because that's what did it for me, being exposed.
Yeah. Good.
I want to echo that. I just got off a podcast. That's why I was running late. And he was asking me a lot of these questions, kind of going back in time. Like what were these defining moments? And for me, it was exactly what you said. It's when you get in the room and your mind gets stretched and you realize you're living a life of mediocrity and that you could be doing more. And there's something about it. He's like, well, what makes you think you could do it? I'm like, I just know that if I see somebody's doing it, it can be done. And I'm dumb enough to believe I can probably do it too. Like, but I'll never forget being at a Proctor event, like 2000 or 2001. And the guy said that, they were selling coaching for 12 grand. And I was like, that's crazy. Like that was so much money to me. And, I'm at the back of the room signing up, with 2 credit cards, cause I can't get it, all to go, the first payment to go on either one, but you need both of these. You're probably going to need them both for every month. And a guy gets up and what sold me on it was a guy got up on the microphone, was sitting next to me the whole time. Didn't ever really talk to him. I was talking to the other guy next to me, and he gets up, sold 400 something houses last year. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, it was such a mind blow to me. And I was like, oh, I mean, everywhere I look, I was seeing people doing things I thought I didn't know was even possible. And so it just made me think bigger, and that there's more that can be done. I'm not even close to what I'm capable of. And so, that I think seeing that for me has always been a real important part of it. And that goes back to getting in the right rooms with the right people. And something you guys were saying earlier too, when you go to that, like there's certain parts and times like where you consumed a lot of information and you tend to know a lot. Right now, man, we're getting dumber by the second. Like there's so much change happening thanks to AI and so many new angles and new ways to think about everything that's completely different than we've ever had access to before, that you're going to not getting in those rooms. You are getting passed by way faster than you ever have. And so, it's even more important today to get in the right rooms with the right people. And again, the traditional real estate model, that ain't going to be the people in your real estate office. It's never going to be just those people. It's getting around, a lot of people that are doing big things. And, these bigger events are the way to do that.
Yeah, love it. So let's take it up a notch to the committed, and people that are like banging their head against the wall, absolutely committed, right? They know what it is that they want. They've done the work, what it's going to take, and they're doing the things. They're developing the skill sets. They're making the hires. They're doing those things. What's besides? I mean, getting in the better rooms. What's the advice that the 1%ers, the committed, need to hear right now?
Just keep going. Keep going. Like if it's over with, it ain't over yet. Like if you feel like you're at the worst place, that means it's not over with yet. I mean, it's like this something else I picked up from church, man. This is when you're in the hospital room and that little thing is ticking, stink. When you get down low, there's nowhere else to go but up. So the victory and the skill set is learning what it is to get over that hard part. Because once you learn that, you ain't got to worry about that part no more, right? So you just got to keep on, stay consistent, and don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. One of the best recommendations John gave me, Kitchen, you gave us the recommendation. You always throwing out a book, but one of the easy ones, and a lot of people read this book, is The Gap in the Game, by Dan Sullivan. Count those wins that you have, because you need to stack them up. Something that Coach Burt says is, confidence is the memory of success. So you gotta keep going through so you can have those experiences so you can remember what a win feels like. because that's what's going to give you confidence to go in there and stand a little taller when you get to that next appointment, or speak a little bit stronger with confidence when you're talking to that agent you want to partner with. So really, just knowing that if it's bad, it's not the end. If you're having some issues, you're getting through them. So you're learning through those things, and you're getting better along the way. And if you feel like you met that goal, if you feel like you're stuck, if you feel like there's nowhere else to go, then you got to raise the bar again, and make your goal higher, make it tougher, make it something that's a little bit less achievable.
Love it. I'm gonna take a different spin, maybe a different angle on that answer. Man, because just different people I talk to, and there are different places where they're winning, right? Like they're committed, they're winning as much as they've ever won. And I think now more than ever, you can't be married to what you think is the way. Like there's probably a better way. And in fact, everything that you've learned up to this point might be so that you can learn something new, and so, I think, be open-minded to, there might be a better way to do what you're trying to do that you just haven't seen, grasped, conceptualized, or even ever imagined was possible. And that was kind of for us, what we had to come to. We were committed, committed the wrong way, going the wrong direction. You don't want to be, committed on a map, taking you to the wrong destination, spend 10 years of your life building, climbing a ladder to realize it's up against the wrong wall. And so I think that's, that would be my advice to the committed is, always assume you might be missing something, always assume there might be a better way, and stay hungry to learn. And don't get stuck in your lane, trying to plow through it, the way you always have. Get around other people doing other things, even if they're different than you. You're going to learn something. You're going to pick up something. I think that's important.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, I got to share so we did VIP session the night before the rally, and Glenn and Debbie were able to come in, so they were on the panel. So I got to share our Fort Lauderdale story with Glenn. I was like, I don't know if you remember this. I said, but I'm going to paint this picture for you. So I got to tell the whole story, and just even kind of building up to that story, right? To where, I remember sitting in the Addison office and getting the video. I think it was Waters down in Austin, whatever, had recorded it, sent it to us. And I remember watching maybe about 10 minutes of it, turned it off. And I think, to your point, when you get so fixated that you think you know the way, that you're not open to seeing all of the other ways. And, if it wasn't for Al getting Christmas presents in July, then, we probably wouldn't have opened our eyes to it. And so, all those things happen for a reason, but it was just interesting to your point, when you get so fixated that you think you know the way. And it's just one of the best mental models, man. It's just like, I know I'm wrong. I'm just trying to be less wrong. Like, help me. Like, help me. Give me a sign that I'm on the right path, or I'm on the wrong path. But I need a sign.
Yeah. And that's so true too. I mean, if we're being truthful, John, like, Waters sent that to me, and he said, hey, this looks like what y'all are trying to do. And I probably paid attention to it, differently. I kind of got interested, but didn't get it. I just didn't get it. That's what it boiled down to. But it wasn't until I looked at it through the lens of, is this better for Al? That I wasn't looking at it like someone was saying I should do it. I was looking at it as like, man, Al's thinking this is better for him. Is it better for him? Because I don't want to give him bad advice. If it's better for him, I want to know. And so, and through that lens, I was willing to receive the information differently. And that was an aha moment for me. And so, I probably, what we were doing was working to an extent. It still had its challenges, but it was working. So we were still really committed. And every day, you're saying the vision, and you're recommitting every day to it. Like it's hard to sometimes not believe you're on the right track. And I think that's where, sometimes, you got to hope for that moment of where something hits you different, and you actually get to receive that information, because we weren't looking for it, and we were fortunate that we found it.
Right.
And
So
you got to be open to receiving the information as well. Like you
Yep.
got to
yeah,
be open to receiving it. And also, when you're looking at a new opportunity, of course, we always want to go to our best friend or friends or our people who we most trust to give us an opinion about that. But keeping in mind and remembering that people are going to give you the best advice they can based on their own previous experiences.
Mhm.
Like think about like how many times we all probably been out with a young buyer, and their mama, their auntie, their uncle, their cousin comes in and creams the deal because they're giving them some advice based on them buying a house 5 years ago
Right.
or based on something that happened to them negatively. So just really being open to the opportunity. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we don't see opportunity unless we see some pain.
Mhm.
Opportunities is around us everywhere, but when we are successful, when everything's going well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of us miss big opportunities because we're so focused on what we're doing in our
Yeah.
own lane.
So let's take it to that final box. Not everybody gets to this point, especially in this game. And I mean, I think we were when we were building in Lawton. I think we did fall into the obsessed category. And so you look at, you follow kind of the 0.1%. I mean, that's 1,100 agents, right? So think about that, right? And so, what advice do we have for the obsessed right now?
Well, I'm gonna go first because I know Jay got something better than me. But here's the thing: just come in, buy into the rules of the game, and copy and do what you're told to do. Um, just like that. I mean, when I initially came on, the goal was, hey, get somebody interested, get them to watch this video, and get them on a three-way call, right? And we did that. The issues became, okay, we didn't know when they watched the video. We were having to watch the video with them, which is actually a good thing. Or we're chasing people down because we're talking about EXP before we're supposed to talk about it. But it still worked. It still worked, and it got us in the position where we're in now. And then we were able to take that thing and duplicate it and show other people in the group how to do those same things. And now, as opposed to us getting on three-way calls with you guys, like people have agents getting on three-way calls with us.
Right.
It's the same thing now, but it's gotten better, right? So now it's like, hey, let's show them a webinar. Let's send them a video. Let's make sure they watch it. But guess what? Now you can see when they watch the video. Guess what? Now they can actually schedule a time to have a three-way call from them watching that video. So you don't have to go back and do. It's so many different things in between that don't exist anymore. It's gotten a lot easier. It's gotten a lot better. It's gotten more fun. And my advice would just be to simply come on in and follow the system, follow the plan, follow the program, and don't try to deviate too much. You got to be you. You got to put your own sauce in there. You have to be your personality because you are what the person's connected to. You're the special recipe, but just follow the rules and don't change it too much.
Yeah, especially that's relevant for us, right? EXP in the model and the process and what we know works. Like that's and it's hard when you've done when you've done one thing super successful and then you're going to do something new like that you've never done before. There is a new level of skills that have to be learned in order to be successful at it. But I think at the obsessed level, it's really it's as much about leadership as it ever has been, no matter what business model you're in. It's really truly leading others and systems processes leading others, and that's if you stay focused on leading others and systems and processes, things will scale, and if you don't, there's bottlenecks, and so I think that's probably true in almost every endeavor.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. And I think a combination of everything that builds up to this point, the thing that the advice that I would give to the obsessed is, if you group things into 3 buckets, health, wealth, and relationships, get a coach for each one. And you need that coach at this level that he ain't going to tell you scripts and dialogues and accountability. That you don't need that. You need somebody that's going to talk to you on a level that understands the leadership dynamics, can get under like really where the struggles that you're struggling with, and the issues, and like it's I default back to Kobe on this one, right? It's like, I don't understand. I don't understand lazy, right? I just don't like, that doesn't trigger in the brain. So I think you've got to have somebody in your corner that can see the blind spots and help you see around corners. Same thing in relationships, because the number one thing that I see, and I'm fucking guilty of this 2 times, is that, you've got to have somebody there that can kind of coach the dynamic of the relationship, and also everybody understands. And like, when you're wired with an obsession, it's hard to convey it to another person, right? They either have it or they don't, but that's where a great coach can come in and help, navigate the conversation in the waters. And then same thing on the fitness side of things, right? Like, I got to see our boy, Phil, again last week. He looks great, but he's been committed to his fitness with Chris DeVecchio, and same thing, and so I think it's having somebody there that's going to hold you. So I think coaching in each of the disciplines when you're at that level is more important than ever, right? Because we did it. I mean, we were prime examples. I mean, we were both, in some of the worst shape of our life. I mean, relationships were falling. We were drinking every day, not to celebrate, but because we needed to. And so,
We were just celebrating.
So I think it's all well, everything that you guys were saying, but I think sometimes we think we can do it without help. That's kind of the hero mentality with the obsessed. And so I think it's the step back and it's like, dude, I need help.
That's a great point, John. Like, when you look at the levels of, the process of change, that last one is accountability. Right. And so, I think, the growth becomes, a challenge at a certain point, and certain equities of life, having the accountability is where you can really continue that path of growth, where, sometimes if you're obsessed, you don't need to be held accountable necessarily, but that's what you need to keep growing. If you're obsessed. That's a great point.
So good, fellas. Amazing. I do want to shift gears to thing that we're pushing, right? Which is our honey badger of the month. Are we ready to roll with this? Are we ready to?
I saw an email. I saw a killer email go out. It was beautiful. Everything in it. The nomination form was in it, so it's up. I don't know the URL for it, but
I'm sure it's on honeybadgernation.com. So listen, guys. So we are, for those of you that don't know, I mean, we are Honey Badger Nation. And it did start out, if you go YouTube, Honey Badger, you're going to find, the Honey Badger, and what we all laughed and fell in love with. And he became kind of our spirit animal and became the most coveted award at NAEA, above King Kong, above the Eagle Spirit Award. Everybody wanted the Honey Badger Award, but you had to go through some shit to get the Honey Badger Award.
Yeah, baby.
And so we want to throw some recognition out there, because we do have some true honey badgers in part of the Honey Badger Nation. And so it's nomination, honeybadgernation.com. Go nominate. We're going to compile it together, and we're going to have a Honey Badger of the month. And then we're definitely going to do some fun stuff in recognition for our Honey Badgers of the month. And then at the end of the year, when we have all the Honey Badgers of the month, then we're going to have the Honey Badger of the year, which we're going to do something really cool with. So go nominate, honeybadgernation.com. Go nominate the Honey Badger that needs the recognition for the stuff that they're plowing through. Honey Badger don't care.
Yeah, if you've been given the gift of going through some shit, just know that we've all been given that gift, and it is a gift to get through that. And so, you should be rewarded. So if you know someone like that, make sure we put them up on a pedestal, because getting through the hard stuff is what creates the upside.
Yeah, absolutely. And also got all kinds of new swag coming out. So definitely over Honey Badger Nation, check out the swag store. And I know you had your hat. You had your hat on last week.
But yeah, we got some cool new swag, legacy swag. So check it out.
Cool. Levi, final thoughts.
Man, thank you guys for having me. I love it. Hey, if you have not gone to YouTube and saw a honey badger in live action, go check it out and get those nominations in. I love y'all, man. I love everything that we've done
Love you too,
together.
brother.
We're gonna keep building. I
Let's go,
appreciate
baby.
you. You already know.
Get started.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys next time. See ya.
Later.